31-22. They said it couldn't be done, but we told you guys the Giants are a real team and they are continuing to win series. I'm Schmitty. This is Christian. Skaters on Baseball recap. Washington Nationals went down 2-1 to the mighty Giants. Christian, what'd you think?
2 out of 3 in DC. Yeah. I would have taken 3 out of 3. They could have won that game yesterday.
I want my broom out, man.
Oh, the bats just weren't there yesterday. But yeah, series win is a series win on the road, and that's kind of what the Giants have been doing all year. So it's a stoke. Little bit of timely hitting in the first game and the third game, and a little bit of Ryan Walker had a kid syndrome in the 9th inning. We had a little bit of everything, you know. Another Robbie Ray 7-0. Robbie Ray, how about that?
Yeah, is there anybody else 7-0?
He 7-0 is the highest mark in the league. I think he's tied with might be Scooble and one other guy. I think have
Max Fried, maybe.
They're all it could be Fried. There's 3 people sharing that spot, and one of them just happens to be our guy.
The best move in all of Farhan history was getting rid of Haniger and getting Robbie Ray. He was out all year last year, but he's already been proven. I mean, this is great that we have a stud that can come in after our horse, Logan Webb. And now we got the 3 youngsters firing it up. Let's see what we can do. We got Birdsong. You wanted him. You got him. Harrison, you wanted him, you got him. Roop, he's been there since day one. So this is going to be the time where we see what is really going on. Are these guys capable of doing it in the pros? Roop has shown that I think he can. Birdsong seems like with last year and this year so far, hell yeah. So I think the question mark to me is Harrison. He's a lefty though, so I'm really hoping he can perform, because if we have 2 lefties in the 5-man rotation, it's a great balance, and we might even get a 3rd one in there just for the Dodger series because they're so left-handed heavy. But things are looking good. Best bullpen in baseball. They're saying it everywhere, not just in San Francisco.
Yep. Yeah, and when they actually give the Giants a compliment on the MLB network, like talking about their bullpen being the best one in baseball, and that says something, because generally they just hate on the Giants over there, right?
That's true.
Harrison started out a little rocky yesterday, and I was like, no, like this is exactly where we were at with him last year. But then kind of settled in. He started to trust his fastball a little more. I think he was just messing around with too much off-speed stuff, right? Like he is a fastball guy, and it's just there's no getting around it. And the off-speed stuff that he threw, it was hanging, you know. So I'm hoping that, like you said, he hasn't really been stretched out because he's been in sack and then coming out of the bullpen. So the pitch counts are, obviously he's on some kind of a pitch count with however deep they want him to go in a game. And he pitched 4 yesterday. So
4, I think he threw like 70 something pitches.
Yeah. And when you look at the contrast between like Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, these guys are giving you quality starts every time out, 6 innings, less than 3 runs. I mean, the typical, getting it done, hopefully under 100 pitches, 6 full, and they've been solid. And Roop is starting to really shine. I think that last game he pitched, whoo, man, it's like that guy just keeps getting better and better. So
absolutely. I mean, we got a good balance. It's not all the same type of pitcher too. That's what I like, is like, it's not like all, Webb and Roop are kind of similar, but then you got Robbie Ray, the mad grunter from the left side. Harrison's similar to Ray, but a little different. They both throw the high fastball and try to overpower you a lot. But man, Roop works with a lot of finesse. And then Birdsong's kind of like a modern day Lincecum, I think. He's just that young kid that has so much determination, like no fear, right? Hey, if you hit a home run, I'll tip my hat to you, but I'm coming at you.
Yeah. He definitely is throwing challenge pitches, and it's like, I want to see that out of young guys. I want to see guys because that's how you build confidence, right? You go out there and you go like, I'm good enough to be here, and my stuff is good enough to beat this guy. So I'm gonna go at him with everything I got. I think that Birdsong's got touched up a little bit with the long ball here and there, and it's slightly concerning, but overall, I'm not really worried about it. And I think like once he settles into the starting role again, like he was last year towards the end of the year, it's going to be a lot better, you know.
Yeah, I think that all these guys are only going to get better. I mean, Harrison's definitely going to get better. He's coming out of the bullpen, and so they are still stretching him out a little bit. And so I give him like 1 or 2 starts that he's just going to be like kind of kicking a little rust off and getting reacquainted with, like, there's a difference between starting and relieving. Hicks back in the bullpen the first time looked like, oh no, and the second time looked like, oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Camilo's just back to Camilo. So the bullpen is almost at the point where you just got to give me 5 innings with a lead and we get the win. Like, I mean, things can happen, but like that's the confidence that we have going into the 6th inning with the lead. 3 innings with that bullpen is like, I mean, Randy Rodriguez is just, he's an underrated guy. He's getting a lot of zeros in complete innings with the zeros, right?
So, yeah, I believe that his ERA dropped to 0.8 today, 0.81 or 0.80. So it's like, come on, man. I mean, that's insane. And he's just lights out every time he comes in. I mean, what's really crazy, he comes in with runners on and just shuts it down, right? Gets a strikeout, gets a double play behind him off a ground ball. I mean, it's just, that guy's scary good. So now the one thing to keep in mind is, you might have the best bullpen in baseball. You still can't overuse them, right?
Absolutely.
You still got to have your starters give you, 5 full minimum, ideally, and preferably 6 full, so that you're not just wearing those dudes out, and you want look, you got Webb who's capable of throwing a complete game, Robbie Ray could probably throw a complete game. Roop, I think by mid-year or late in the year could be possibly capable of throwing a complete game. So if you got 3 starters that could give you, 7, 8, 9 innings, then you're talking, because that bullpen won't be overtaxed, And I think that's what the Giants ran into in past years, is that they had starters that just weren't getting deep in games consistently, and the bullpen just got overworked, So it's nice to have the quality, and it's nice to be able to preserve the arm strength and the general stamina of those guys.
Well, we don't know. I haven't heard. I don't know if you have. I haven't got an update on the Verlander situation. Apparently, they were hoping it's only 2 starts, which would be the one that was yesterday, and then I think it's in Miami where the second one would be. So 6 days or whatever after that, will he be ready? We're not sure. So we're just going to have to hold on to our hats. But that's kind of what my concern was a little bit. And I'm getting over it because like pitcher's going to pitch. But like the thing for me that's sad is like I'm a sentimentalist. That's what my therapist tells me. It's the pitcher throwing a great game and not getting any run support and not getting that W, right? Like that kills me a lot. I don't know why I care so much about the pitcher, but I'm like, dude, this guy threw a great game and then they fucking blew it, and then the team wins, but the pitcher didn't get the win. So his stat, because those are, people say win losses don't matter, but come on, everybody looks at the win losses. It's right under the pitcher's name or right to the next side. So my point being is I don't want to see the yin and the back and forth like a fucking bullpen to starter, bullpen to starter, bullpen to starter. And I was hoping that Harrison would get an opportunity that if he pitched good enough, he'd be there to stay. Kind of like Birdsong and Roop, I think, are there to stay. But if Verlander comes back, obviously Verlander is not going to the pen. So either he goes to the IL, he has to be traded because he hasn't got a win and he's on that 300 quest, or he's a starter. If he
Yep.
goes to the starter, there's not going to be a 6-man rotation. So you can forget about that idea. And that means that Harrison goes back to the bullpen. But these are better problems to have than the opposite of that, right? Like we
Sure.
got a plethora of starting pitchers, and hell, maybe Buster starts figuring something out where we get a move made and we give up one of these studs, but we get back something that we need that can hit close to
Something made
300 with
out of
some
wood.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Need somebody who can swing a
What's
stick.
up, A
That's
Rocks, D Boggs, and the recovery? Sorry.
well, so Adamas, they were saying today during the game, during one of his at bats, he had gone something like 2 for his last 27. Right.
Yeah,
Like,
him and Chapman are really struggling right now.
yeah, those guys are having a tough time of it. And Bailey seems like, well, maybe it might start changing a little bit. Lamont Wade again had some hard luck today. He hit a sinking liner. The guy made a insane catch to rob him of a hit. So the bats is just really the issue now. You know, the pitching, like you said, it's a good problem to have when you have one of your frontline starters goes down with an injury and you have a guy you could plug right in who's just going to give you a good starting arm in the rotation. You're not really losing anything, right?
No,
I
that's
mean,
a fan favorite. Like you got a
yeah,
guy that people are dying to get as a starter.
right,
Like
right,
everyone wanted Birdsong from opening day.
yep,
So that the anticipation of this guy coming, it really feels like a jolt of energy.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, we saw what he could do last year, and they were still kind of like having him go 5 and then bringing him out of the game. And so I think
Mm.
once he gets settled into the starting position again, that he's going to be going deeper in games. You know, obviously pitches are pitches, right? If a guy's running at, 75 pitches in the third inning, then it's going to be a problem. But other than that, I think any of those guys could give you quality starts, right?
Austin T says he's proud of Harry, and I'm proud of him too. He's done everything they asked him to do without complaining.
Mhm.
That's true. And that's what I'm looking for Hicks to do as well. Follow suit with, like, hey, you want to be a starter, but look, proof is in the pudding. Let's see what you can do. Maybe figure some shit out in the bullpen, or maybe figure out that the bullpen is your calling and you're a lights out dude in the bullpen. And that could be a Studley situation for you as well. So, whatever it takes to let the ball club win, that should be the attitude. And I know people say, like, I don't care if I got the win or not, the team won. That's the one time where I say, behind closed doors, you care.
Yeah, yeah. And I do think that this particular group of guys, it seems like there's that unified effort to win games, and everybody's cheering everybody else on. There's no bad attitudes. It seems like these guys really like each other and they want to win for each other. So I don't worry about that. And I haven't felt like that in quite a few years with the Giants. Felt like there were guys who didn't fit and guys that were just like, this whole Kapler mess where it was like, oh yeah, you don't have to take BP if you don't want to, but you got to come out and walk around barefoot in the grass. It's like, what are you doing, dude? It's baseball. Like this, it's a regimen. It's a discipline thing, and guys have to be connected, right? So if BP is mandatory, that means everybody's out there, everybody's together.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
it's important,
Isn't it refreshing to have our conversations about the players? Like everyone's beating up on Lamont Wade because he's having a rough start, right? And then Hicks wasn't doing it. But this is kind of what baseball should be. Like the players aren't performing. In the past, we're talking about Farhan and Kapler more than we're talking about the
Mhm.
players. And that was just a horrible place to be for all fans. So I think people need to really take a little step on the brakes and be like, no matter what, we're in a better situation right now, and it's gonna get better. And hell, we're fucking 9 games over 500,
Right.
and the Diamondbacks are slowly losing and losing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know it's early, but like we're doing great right now.
Yeah. Yeah. My retort to people when they complain about Wade or anybody else, it's like, it's okay to be critical, but the record is the record. Okay. The record doesn't lie. These guys are doing enough to have put themselves in this position where they're 9 over. And
Right.
So you can complain about individuals all you want, but it's a team effort, and the team is 9 games over 500, uh, despite all of its parts. You know,
Exactly.
and I stand by what I've said repeatedly is that I don't think that they've even remotely hit their stride hitting yet. They're definitely capable of much better offense than what they've been producing. And we saw, a little bit of it early. They were piling some runs on and they were really getting the bats going. And then it kind of more guys than you would like all went cold at once. And it happens, right? That's why it's nice to have that 9-game cushion. You can lose a game here, lose a game there, get just guys keep getting their reps, getting their at bats, and just working through it, making the adjustments they need to make.
Right.
So it's, I think as pessimistic as we could be about what it's looked like recently, think about what it can look like 3 weeks from now. These guys start getting back into the groove. So, and I think, this is a tough road trip, right? Like Detroit's, they're getting the hard one at the end, right?
Yeah. Right.
So that's going to be a real test of
The good news
what they
is
can do.
Scooble pitched today, so we don't
Right.
have to face him. That's
Right.
nice.
Right. So we're not going to get the Ray Scooble matchup that we could have had. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Miami should be a good opportunity for them to, get their bats in order, maybe, just because Miami not much and their pitching's not much. Right.
Yeah, I think we should hold our own against Miami. Maybe we'll even come back with Alcantara. Who knows? Everybody's been talking about how these guys want to trade and the Giants, but everybody talks about Wisenhunt and wanting to see him. But I think just like Eldridge, Wisenhunt should just stay where he is and keep getting better and make it so he has to come up. Not this. Let's see what he can do. We're already stacked up here. We don't need another guy to clog it up. And to his advantage, he can work on so much stuff down in AAA where it's not going to matter as much as in the pros. And let's get him to that point where like maybe he even learns another pitch right now to just have more arsenal. And when he comes up, people are just like, oh yeah, it's time, because we're going to, unless we fall off the map, we're going to end the season with Ray and Verlander, as long as they're healthy, obviously, and Webb. So we got 3 guys already ahead of Wisenhunt for 2 positions. So I don't want to see Wisenhunt, because if we do see him, that means we got like 2 major injuries probably.
Right.
And so that wouldn't be good. And look, I love that the kid's doing good and he's a homegrown guy. Maybe eventually, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we might have 5 homegrown starting pitchers at some point, which would just be phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even have that with Lincecum and Bumgarner. That we had 1 or 2 that were not homegrown, but like this pitching and the bullpen and everything, it's so strong that it just makes you salivate for a bat or two, because you understand that you don't need to score that many runs, but you do need to score some runs.
Yep.
And if we're able to do that, we can compete against anybody.
Yep. And the biggest issue with the offense, the scoring, I mean, they've been playing a lot of close games. I think more close games than any other team in the league. And the Giants have kind of confined their scoring to 1, maybe 2 innings over the course of 9 innings in the game, which is like, ideally, you want to be putting up runs in a minimum of 3 innings in the game. I mean, it just statistically, like you that means you're scoring at least 3 runs in every game, even if you only score 1 per 3 innings. So that's something that I would like to see improve. And it just feels like it's there, but it's just not happening, And like yesterday, I mean, Fitzgerald had 2 out of the only 3 hits they had, right? And they didn't amount to anything because nobody was getting it done behind him. And he's the guy that when he gets on, he's going to get you an extra base. And if you can just put something into the outfield, he's coming around to score.
Right.
That's how good his speed is. So, So we should talk a little bit about this whole Paul Skeens thing, because man, it sounds like, I mean, either it's a bunch of people just trying to pontificate about what the Pirates are going to do, or it's genuinely they're going to shop Skeens around and see what they can get for him. And so all these people are oh, here's all the trades from all the team who they would have to give up to get Paul Skeens. And the thing is, for me, at this point, sure, I'd give up Eldridge and maybe one other person for Skeens, but we don't need a pitcher. We need bats.
Yeah.
Skeens, unless you could do a 3-way trade where you take Skeens and dish him off to another team for a big bat or two, like this doesn't seem like it makes much sense, right?
I think it's people fishing, I think people love to put these like extreme situations out on their social media to get clicks and to get discussion, and it works time after time. But why would the Pirates trade such a draw? That guy is like in Pittsburgh and we know about him. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Like that means the guy's fucking fantastic.
Yep.
So to trade him, think about what I don't know, when the Nationals traded Soto, for example, they got like almost their whole team is from that trade right now. They got like Abrams, there's like 4 or 5 dudes and they're all like young, good dudes. That's what you're going to have to do for Skeens. I'm not saying don't do that, but I just don't think the Pirates, that would be worse than the Miami massacre after they won the World Series and got rid of their whole team. It's just like, come on, man. The Pirates, they got a historical organization. They got a great stadium. Their fans deserve that. Pittsburgh's such a hardworking town. They deserve better. And to dump Skeens and have Joey Bart on the team, I feel bad for everybody out there. That would be horrid. So let's forget about that. But I did want to talk to you about something that we've been talking about over the texting, which is basically our bench. Luis Matos, he doesn't see very many at bats, and part of that is because when he has seen him, he hasn't performed very well. This is going to end soon. Lamont Wade playing first base. He's been struggling. Is that going to end soon? Encarnacion supposedly coming back maybe early June now. I think it got pushed back a little bit from his sore hand. Casey Schmidt is back. And Christian Koss is still in the mix. So take all those backup elements and put them in a Yahtzee thing and throw them out. And which one do you want to just send directly to jail? Do not pass go. I guess that's Monopoly. But yeah, I mean, I think we got to change this situation up. And I feel like some of the stuff is a little clogged where it's a lot of kind of similarness. And then there's glaring areas where it's like, we don't really have anything of that. And so, we've talked about our boy McRae coming up and just adding more speed. We've talked about the fact that Encarnacion could maybe play a lot of first base when he comes back, but is his back going to be there? He just had surgery. He's still young. He doesn't have a lot of at bats in the pros. Like, what should we expect and what are we hoping for?
Well, I can give you my take on what I would do if I were in charge.
Yeah.
So the first thing with Matos, I feel like Matos needs more at bats, needs more reps than he's going to get at this juncture of this season. So it would probably serve him better from a playing point of view to have him back in Sacramento. Now, obviously, if Matos goes to Sacramento, we need a different backup outfielder, because I'm not going to have Encarnacion back out in the outfield after he got hurt out there. Schmidt, even though he's got a rocket for an arm, he's wasted in the outfield. And then you're looking at potentially McRae coming up in a swap for that. And McRae would be on the bench most of the time because our outfield is those are everyday guys, right? It's not like a big platoon situation. But I think I would be willing to give McRae a shot in place of Matos so that Matos could get his swing and his swing mechanics dialed back in sack. He'd play every day, he'd get at least 3 at bats every day. I think that would be good for him, just based on what I've seen. I would be moving Casey Schmidt to first base more often, not just against left-handed pitchers, but maybe splitting time between him and Wade at first and seeing how that, if Casey really grows into that role, if he sort of takes over the majority of the games at first and Wade is kind of an off the bench guy, right? And Koss I want to keep around because, I want that utility infield guy of his, what he can do. I really like that dude.
Yeah.
So then when Gerard comes back, it's like, yes, you got to move somebody. And then you kind of make that decision based on what his workouts look like and what's going on. I mean, he may be doing some rehab in Sacramento for a little bit before he actually comes back up to San Francisco anyway. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I feel like I don't think a whole lot of changes need to be made, really.
Here's what I'm thinking. This hit me last night. You're not gonna like this.
Go ahead.
But I want to preface it with this. As you just said, Matos needs more at bats, more reps. He doesn't have them here, so it's just not a good place for him to be. I think the same could be said for most of our youth. Like having McRae up here adds a little bit of benefit for him because of his speed. Like he could be a pinch runner and stuff, but he's such a great fielder that you want him in the lineup. You just need him to start hitting. He's batting like 250 in AAA. So I don't know what his strikeout ratio is, but it wasn't very good last year when he was up.
True.
So here's what we do. We send Matos back to Sac, and we give the final ultimatum to the left fielder out there. And we see if he can do it. He hit 2 home runs last night in Sacramento. He was one of our biggest prospects. It's do or die. What are we going to do with this guy? Let's let him play, and if it goes well, great. If not, I hate to say it, but DFA, because unless somebody wants to trade for him or whatever, but like we got to figure that out, and that's Luciano. I froze you, huh? That one just destroyed you. Damn, Christian froze on that suggestion. Well, what do you guys think? Shouldn't it be do or die time for Marco? I don't know. I think Luciano needs to come up. He needs to hit his first home run in the majors, and he needs to show that he can play a little bit of outfield. They could, alternate him in DH and give Wilmer a couple of days off. But that gives Matos some time to heat up down there if you want to bring him back up or try McRae or whatever you want to do. And those are my 2 cents for it. So, yeah, I did make a little thing today. Might want to show you while Christian's like fighting to get back into the scene. One of the things that happened while this was all unraveling was, well, I might want to save this for the end. I think I'm going to save this for the end. What do you think, Recovery? Can we get just me, but we can let Luciano go? So would you just DFA him, or like, let's say they've tried to trade him and nobody wants to bite on it. Do we just call it a loss and just be like, peace out? Or do you just try to trade for like even a backup utility guy? I don't know. Recovery, what are you thinking? You guys tell me, because I don't know. There's guys like David VR that were like those 4A players that just do really well in AAA, and then they come up to the bigs and they can't do it for whatever reason. The speed of the game is too much for them compared to the AAA, but AAA is almost a little too slow. Christian said he's on his way back now, so don't y'all worry. You're not stuck with me. We'll have Christian back. But yeah, I don't know. I think it could be a good time to just, especially for that small window while we're waiting for Encarnacion. I think you could throw in Luciano for like a week to 2 weeks, give him some reps, and if no one wants to bite on it, then yes, cut the ties and send him packing back to the Dominican. Did you hear any of what I said?
No, sorry about that. We had a little power glitch here for a minute and a half, and
I thought I froze your ass on. I thought you were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And it just went Han Solo on me,
no,
man.
catch me up real quick. Sorry about that.
Okay, so real quick, just to make a long story short, we send Matos down. He needs play more. Get him his reps. And we bring up our biggest prospect in 500 years that hasn't done it at all and say it's do or die, sink or swim. Let's see what you can do. I hate to give you this kind of pressure, but we can't afford to have you even taking up a spot in Sacramento anymore. You're playing for 2 weeks. We need at least one home run, and we need to see you out in left field. We need to see you maybe DH in a couple of days, but like Luciano has the power. Can he hit? Can he be up here? Can he get out of his head? Either that or we need to DFA or trade him. Like it just doesn't make sense to have this guy that was the number 7 pick in all of baseball 5 years ago, and he's still young. He's like 22, 23. Like, what are we doing with this guy? And what can we do with him? And if we can't do anything, then it's like, see you later. I hate to say it, but David VR was a 4A player, so we've seen that before.
Yep.
And if that's what he is again, I mean, the excuses have to end at some point, and we do have to like move on. So it's either, can you help the ball club? No, then maybe you go to the Rockies or somewhere. Maybe that would be better, for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah. The issue with Luciano is the guy just cannot play defense. We know this, right? We've seen enough of it. And so he has to be able to just rake at the big league level, and you have to basically count on him as being a designated hitter. That's it, right? And part of why I sort of mentioned McRae as swapping out with Matos to see how it goes is because McRae can play probably a much better defensive outfield than Elliot Ramos has been of late, right? I mean, McRae is super quick. He's got great hands, great glove. I could see Ramos being a DH and having McRae, take over left field here and there and kind of let Ramos not play the field every single game. Luciano to me is just so, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like, what are we doing? Guy's been
and we
in
said
the
it
system.
from the spring training. Like, what are they going to do with this guy? There's not really, he hasn't overwhelmed us, so there's nowhere to put him, and he doesn't play a position really that we're in need of. If he was a first baseman, maybe that would be like, okay, let's try him there for a while. He's probably going to do about as good as Wade at the very least. Let's see. But a left fielder, we don't need a left fielder. A shortstop, we don't need a shortstop. Second baseman, we don't need him at second base. So yeah, that's been on my mind heavy lately. Like, because I saw that he hit 2 home runs and sack yesterday, and I was like, okay, this guy is almost the same as VR, where he goes back there and he just rakes, and everyone's like, ah! But then he comes up here, and for whatever reason, the speed is just a little too fast for him up here, and he can't do it. My ultimate dream is for Grant McRae to be a good leadoff hitter and to have Grant McRae and Jung-Hoo Lee in the outfield at the same time. I think that's just, I mean, I can't even imagine Yaz, Jung-Hoo Lee, and McRae in the same outfield, like that would be the best defensive outfield, I think, for sure. Like those guys are all so good
Yep.
defensively.
Yep.
So if McRae could start hitting and then he's a fast guy to lead it off, he's exactly the type of player we need if he
Mhm.
could get on base more.
Yeah, it's all about is at bats being better, and I'm kind of thinking like maybe McRae doesn't get his shot this year because Yaz is still here, and I don't see the Giants extending Yaz past this year. I could be wrong, they may want to retain him on another 1-year deal, or who knows. But I just something makes me think like there's this youth movement in the organization right now with a lot of the pitching and some of the other guys, and it's like maybe Buster's just looking like, hey, like the success that we had in the 2010s all came from the homegrown guys that came up through the Giants organization. They were brought up when they were ready and they performed, and they all kind of knew each other, and it was like it all worked really, really well. So he may be looking at it that way, and some of these guys that, like Yaz and Wade, maybe even Wilmer, those guys, like we thought they'd all be gone after last year. Well, maybe for sure after this year, because they're all on 1-year extensions, right? But yeah, the Luciano thing is a huge conundrum because you want to see him succeed, you want to see him do well, you want to see him help the Giants win. But every time he's come up to the major league level, it just hasn't. The bat hasn't shown up, the defense isn't there. It just doesn't seem right. And like we've talked about in the past, like sometimes a change of scenery is what guys need. They just aren't going to get it done.
Joey Bart.
Yeah. Bart went to Pittsburgh and he improved quite a bit.
Better.
Yeah.
Conforto went to LA and he did not.
Yeah. So small sample size recovery, 716, but Fitzgerald's hitting what, 280, somewhere in there, 276, 280. So it's not been that bad, and he has missed a lot of games. So I think I'm not too worried about his hitting. Wade has definitely been a rough one to swallow because we're used to him being a really good on base guy, good average guy, drawing a lot of walks, and it's just this year it's just something's not right. Yeah, that's a good one. I told you
you want to talk about who's getting paid. What about your boy B Snell? 60-day IL. Talk about, hold on, here we go. Ready? Had a baby blues. Your boy B Snell be tearing up that beat, dude. What the hell?
Conforto.
Yeah, we loved getting rid of Conforto. I actually had a lot of hope for him when he came over. He seemed like the kind of guy that once he got healthy, he was going to be this, solid dude. He just wasn't, and he gets hurt kind of a little too much as well.
Yeah, he really put a bad hoax on the Dodgers because the first 2 weeks he was red hot.
Yeah,
right?
I was hearing that from my Dodger fan friends. We love Conforto. I was like, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah, and one of my Dodger fan confidants down here basically was like begging, like, you guys want Conforto back? Will you take him back? I was like, nope, it's all yours, bud. So, and he doesn't have the toddler excuse. He didn't have a kid. So it's, it's a bummer about Conforto because he signed that deal. And I figured, okay, he's coming off shoulder surgery. His first season's probably not going to be that great. Year 2 should be great. Year 2 sucked, He had a few moments, but it really, he just underperformed, and that wasn't a great contract. They were paying him a lot of money. So the Dodgers can have him all day, who knows? They might release him, right? Either that or he's going to pitch because they're going to need pitching.
It's so bad over there. I can't believe it. Maybe Conforto wants to help us out by sucking. I love this, man. I just fucking love that shit.
Imagine if Conforto was dumb enough that he was like, well, Farhan went to the Dodgers. Maybe I should go there.
Well, I mean, look, the team wins the World Series. It's kind of a desirable place to go the next year. What people don't realize is repeating is very difficult.
Yeah. And that's why Snell went. you know, the money, obviously, and trying to get a ring. I mean, if
Val.
if Tampa Bay's manager had run it right and not pulled him from that game in the World Series against the Dodgers, he could have a ring with Tampa Bay, right? Which would be, I think, way more prestigious to get one with Tampa Bay than it would be with the Dodgers. The Dodgers buy them. Tampa Bay would have earned it, right? So yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. So what's the rest of your plan then? Like we got as far as
For the
Matos.
For
Yeah,
Luciano?
yeah, or just you know, in general with those players that we mentioned.
Well, here's the thing that I don't know if we talked about it because I don't know what you heard and what you didn't hear on your freeze, but I thought it's not a long-term test. It's a until Encarnacion is ready to play test.
Mm-hmm.
So you just swap him and Matos for now. Matos isn't really playing, so bring Luciano up. He can't do much worse than Matos was doing, and give him something. And when Encarnacion comes and's ready, you look at what he's done, and I don't know. At some point, you got to just like have Will Clark go into there and just put his shit kickers on and say, step up or ship out, man. I don't know. Yeah, the dads are struggling. It's not a bit either. They've been struggling kind of a lot. They won today though, which sucked. It was cool to see. You know, I got no hate for Acuna. I think Acuna is the all around the guy I would want to start my team with. He's exactly the fast, powerful, good. You know, everything he does well. His first at bat back, he hits a home run. Then the next game, he hits a home run. Like it's cool. But Braves lost today, unfortunately. The Padres beat them.
To me, Fernando Tatis and Acuna are very similar. Those two guys, they're just studs, man. They got speed, they got bats, they got, you know, good defense, their positions. Like, yeah, either one of those guys you'd love to have, right? But we got the guys we got, and I don't dislike the guys that we got. You know?
No, not at all. JB's on to something. You'd probably be a better GM than me. Yeah, that makes more sense, right? You just let people forget that he's even been up and struggled, and just see him doing great in AAA, and be like, hey, you could have our best player off the River Cats and so for whoever, you know. I was listening to Marty Lurie today before the game, and they were talking about how Kyle Schwarber is going to be a free agent next year, and what a great player he would be to throw onto this team into DH next year. I don't know. I keep thinking to myself, it's over. I don't want to have any expectations ever again. We've gone through this. Even lower expectations, I have to really work hard on. I'll believe it when I see it. Whoever we get, we'll have. Until then, we don't have them. Like
right.
This whole man, we don't even have to go through the laundry list, but from Bryce Harper till now, it's just been rough, and some have been a lot closer than others. The Correa one was insane. You know, and then just the arson judge and just all that stuff. It's like, let's just focus on who we have, what we have, and let Buster and those guys do their job, and just put some faith in them and trust in them. Look, like, we all like to sit on the couch and say afterwards what we would have done, but we're not in that position. So I think these guys are really doing a great job.
Yeah, yeah, and Buster's got that opportunity because of all the younger guys to put a squad together for the future. That's like, yeah, we're building the foundation not only with the veterans like Chapman and Adames, but also with these young guys that have all come up together. And now we're building something really good where it's like, we're not in the off season scrabbling to sign 2 or 3 free agents to complete the team. Now we're looking for trade deadline guys that can help the team, and maybe one guy in the offseason that helps the team. And you don't have to worry about, oh, we got to go out and spend hundreds of millions of dollars and we need to fill all these holes. It's like, there's not that many holes to fill, you know? And I think, you know, with Eldridge, if Eldridge turns out to be what he's supposed to be, then that's even one less hole on top of that, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, that's interesting too, because it's kind of like I was thinking about this today. At the beginning of the season, we're all talking about how this is the year of acclimation. This is the year of Buster getting his feet wet. This is the year of us seeing what we have and what we need. And this is the year to give Bryce Eldridge a whole year in minors to get him ready for next year. And next year's the year where we just need one or two pieces and then we're right in the hunt.
Right.
All of a sudden we're already in the hunt and we're like, no, this is the year. But I think we really need to focus on if Bryce Eldridge is going to turn out to be what he's supposed to with patience next year. And what a huge addition at the total, like the optimal. You couldn't ask for a better position that we need help with. He comes in and replaces our first base scenario, and he performs up to like, let's say 270 with like 29 to 33 home runs or something, just his first year, like something that's semi reasonable like that.
Yep.
What a huge addition that could be, right?
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about Goldschmidt and some of these other guys filling in for a year, but if we have that kind of promise and we just have to wait a year, those are some other reasons why I think we can just breathe this year a little more comfortably. Like, oh, we lost, but like the future's bright. Oh,
Right.
we're winning. Cool. But you're just kind of looking at that future and looking at all the youth movement and all that stuff. It's everyone wants to call it homerism, but it's just facts. It's just baseball fanatics cheering for their team. Like,
yeah, and they are a winning team right now,
yeah,
So I think
no
that,
doubt.
I mean, we heard it, right? Spring training and the first week of the season, everybody was screaming Eldridge, Eldridge, Eldridge. And it's like, you can't let the failures and the struggles of the past couple of years dictate moving a guy who's 20 years old to the majors and just basically saying, sink or swim, pal. Like that shouldn't be the way that players are developed. They should be there should be a chart, and it should be like, okay, you're going to go to Eugene and you're going to be in Eugene until potentially this date when we see these benchmarks in your development as a player. Then we're going to, move you around. Maybe we're going to bring you to SAC now, and we're going to give you 2 months there. And we expect you to meet these marks, rather than this just sort of like, we're desperate to put a better team on the field and sell more tickets. And, we're tired of being sub 500. So we just got to throw this guy in there, And I mean, of course, his first at bat in spring training, he hits a 450-foot home run. So everybody's even that much more like, we got to get him. But it's not the right play, right? We know that.
Absolutely.
So I think, this is a year to kind of stay grounded and be like, we weren't, prior to the season starting, we weren't expecting a lot out of this team. We were expecting them to be sort of taking inventory, seeing, like you said, what we've got and what we don't have and what we need, and kind of figuring it out. And it's been a little better than we expected. So we can enjoy that and be psyched about what the future holds, because it's much brighter than it's been for quite a while.
100%. Yeah. Have you seen any of this stuff about Juan Soto not hustling, him and Lindor? Apparently, it seems to me like things are already a little like not so, when you compare that to the Adames arrival and the vibes of all the players and Adames isn't even hitting well yet. And Soto is hitting well, but like some of his tactics aren't really floating with some of the New Yorkers. It's really interesting. And you and I called that in the off season. It's like we were kind of referring him more to like a prima donna or something, but it's more like his antics and just like his flair and like his overboard lack of hustle on certain plays and this and that. And you're seeing that guy's a great player, but he can really disrupt things within the team and the organization. And I was just like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's sounding like he's starting to be a metastatic clubhouse cancer, right? I mean, really, it's he's talking shit. He's not performing. He's hitting balls off the green monster, thinking they're gone, and then getting a single out of it. I mean, and it's like, look, okay, Scott Boras is your agent. You followed the money. The money led you to the Mets, right? You probably should have signed that deal with the Yankees because Stanton is toast, and you could have been the Stanton replacement marquee hitter for the Yankees, right? But for whatever reason, went to the Mets, more money, and now he's unhappy. Well, boo fucking who? You know, sorry, but it's like, and if you're gonna do your team like that, I mean, you run out of get out of jail free cards real quick. Like any goodwill you might have built up with these guys in the off season, spring training, you get on the field and you start pulling that kind of stuff. Like guys are not going to be digging it. Your teammates are not going to be happy. You're not happy. Well, they're not happy. And now you guys have bad chemistry and you got a guy who's only out for his own end. And it's just like, it's ugly, so whatever, you reap what you sow.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, how can anyone be unhappy? I don't think it's that he's unhappy. I think he's just arrogant. And I think he's just like, oh, I hit the ball. It's a home run before he realizes whether it is, or he hits one up in the air and he doesn't run and somebody drops it, or all those type of things. Like you look at Jung Hoo Lee and the guy just runs as hard as he can, no matter what. And those are the type of things that like people are like, that's kind of dumb. You're like wasting all your energy. But it only takes once or twice for the other team to fumble or do something bad where now you're on base because you're a hustler. I mean, that's Pete Rose's mentality, was like, bust your ass, always run as hard as you can when you hit a ground ball and see what happens. The other thing I was noticing is the D-backs are under 500 at 26 and 27. No alarm, no cause of too much concern, but the Dodgers 32 and 20, Giants 31 and 22 in second place, San Francisco Giants, and your daddies are 28 and 22 in third. The Rockies are probably going to end up with the worst record in the history of baseball this year. It's really sad. They're 9 and 43. They fired Bud Black. It's really an eyesore in our National League West that all the other teams are just pretty amazing. Could be a four-way battle, at the end of this year. We'll see.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where we're at over 50. What is that? 53 games in. We're almost 1/3 of the way done with the season. So
we're getting there.
Yeah, I think the big moves for the Giants is what's going to happen with first base, and I could even see them upgrading second base and having Fitzgerald return to kind of like his more like bench role where he's running late in the game or playing all the different positions that he can play, kind of like a Chris Taylor. But I think Fitz in time is he's pretty solid at second base. I mean, he was the number 5 second baseman going into the season. There's not a lot of great second basemen this year in baseball. So I'm not too worried about Fitz. I do think first base, and then what we didn't get to yet was the big question that's on everybody's mind, and that is what's going on with Christian Cooper's backup catcher concern. Because today we had a home run by Huff, and he's got 2 home runs to Patrick Bailey's 1 home run. He's batting 208, much less sample size. Bailey's batting 225. Bailey's got 15 RBIs. He's 48 strikeouts. Huff's got 23 strikeouts. I'm wondering if the backup catcher concern is as big a concern as the starting catcher concern.
At this point, I'm much more concerned with Patrick Bailey's bat. I don't know. He's using a torpedo. He's still switch hitting, which is just galls me to no end. Um, and the only concern I had with Sam Huff today is like, great, he hit a home run. That was amazing. And then the bottom half of the inning, he just makes a completely terrible flip on a wild pitch and was an easy out at the plate, but he just sailed the ball and Robbie Ray couldn't get a grip on it, which is like, there's my backup catcher concern right there. But because of the home run, see, it cancels it out. Like my philosophy about the backup guy is he's got to be good on one side of the ball or the other. Doesn't have to be both, but he's got to be good on one. If he's bad on both, and Huff is, I don't know. They were saying today, like, well, that's the power he always had in Texas. Well, dude, keep bringing it then, right? Yeah, Bailey's bat is a little disturbing right now, and yeah, Cal Raleigh's never coming to San Francisco. That guy's not going to leave anytime soon where he's at.
I can't imagine. Well, let's talk about this. So this is something that's been definitely on all the airwaves and in all our minds. We know Patrick Bailey's one of the best, if not the best, defensive young catcher right now. How much does the defense that he possesses overshadow his struggling bat? At what point do you say, look, you're a great defensive catcher, but we need something offensively? Or do you just say, if we have 8 guys hitting this one position, as great of a catcher he is, it's such an important position. It does so much for our pitching and for everything else that we're happy no matter, we'd love him to hit better, but if he doesn't, he's still our guy.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be given a little bit of grace because of the fantastic job he does behind the plate. I mean, I'm totally okay with that, but it's been such a fall off from last year that you have to wonder, like, what is going on with? Are you tired already? Is it that just something just went wrong with his swing and he just hasn't been able to fix it? I mean, it is a pretty shockingly bad performance out of Patrick Bailey so far, right? And we were kind of used to him being a good bat in the lineup when he first came up. I mean, he was hitting doubles and he's actually, for a catcher, he's got a little speed too, which is just makes it even more of a shame that he's not getting hits.
And he's been clutch in the past. Like I was looking at my Tops Now baseball cards, and I think he had 3 last year where it was like walk-off home runs or game-winning hits. Like he was in the clutch. He was a pretty solid dude to have up there. Something happened. I don't know. I mean, I think these guys really got to focus on it without, disturbing things too much. But like, yeah, Barry Bonds getting in there and helping him. I know Barry's been helping Lamont Wade. I don't know what, obviously it's above my pay grade, but something needs to snap for him to like get out of this slump that he's been in offensively.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of it could just be like it's kind of infectious amongst the team, when you'll see it a lot of times with the team when 4 of the guys in the lineup, 5 of the guys in the lineup start getting hot, they start heating up, the other guys start heating up behind them. Like it's infectious. It's like everybody's hitting and now I'm hitting. This is great, but right now a lot of guys aren't hitting, and so then other guys aren't hitting, and it's just kind of tough. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, because I'm not inside. I'm not a coach. I'm not any of that. But I do feel like the switch hitting thing is a problem because you're splitting your attention at the plate based on who you're facing. And to me, that doesn't seem right. It's so rare that a switch hitter has good balanced splits. I mean, I don't see the point really, like, especially since the Giants are horrendous against left-handed pitching. And so you're going to switch hit to bat right-handed against a left-hander when your whole squad is terrible against left-handed pitching? What is that? It's crazy.
Well, JB, I don't know if he's worth bringing up, but the Giants just signed Andrew Nisner to the AAA Sacramento River Cats. And so I guess he's above Stassi now in the pecking order, but I don't know. I don't know if Nisner is better than our situation now. Um,
I think he's a career 147 hitter, and he's kind of bounced up and down between the majors and AAA. So is it much different than anybody else they've got? Not really. I mean, it's not like an upgrade where you're clamoring to get the guy up to the majors, you know. And it's just I mean, Bailey's not going to get sent down to Sacramento to work on hitting. That's not happening.
no,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, he's handled this pitching staff now the overwhelming majority of the time. He's earned the right to be there through his pitch framing and his ability to throw guys out and call a game. So that's just not happening. I mean, they just gotta figure out what's going on with his bat and just get back to some basic fundamental hitting skills with him, right? I think that's the only real issue. And as far as Huff, like, yeah, I'm good with it right now, unless they bring in somebody who's an upgrade over Huff that is clearly an upgrade. There's no point to really change any of that right now. I mean, apparently the pitchers like throwing to Huff, so why mess with it, right? You know how these guys are. They're weird, right? Like, oh, I'll throw to that guy, but I don't really want to throw to that. Like, they all have their
Yeah, yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
And
We've seen
and
it over and over.
right, and baseball, everybody is just notoriously superstitious about everything, right? You know, don't step on the chalk line. Make sure you take a little crow hop when you cross the dirt. All it's such a mind game that, like, yeah, you don't want to mess around too much with that. So, and there it is.
There you go, baby. There you go. Yeah, we'll see. I'm holding out. I think there's more hope for Bailey for some reason than there is for Wade. I think I think Wade's time is coming to an end, really. I think if he doesn't turn this around soon, everyone's talking about it, not just fans, but like people, like Marty's talking about it to Kuiper and all these guys. So it's become like a glaring issue. And with Encarnacion coming back and with Schmidt looking like he's pretty above average actually for a backup guy especially, but he plays good defense and he's starting to hit the ball more consistently. He's got giving you good at bats. So
yeah,
well,
my prediction is by the All-Star break, first base is going to look a lot different than it does right now.
oh
And I hate saying it because I'm a Lamont guy, but it's just
yeah,
I'm more than a Lamont guy. I'm a Giants guy, and so if what it takes is that Lamont is just kind of done over there, and then so be it. A change is going to have to be made, and I think unless Lamont suddenly goes on just a tear, it's going to change by the All-Star break. I mean, it's coming up pretty quick, man. We're not that far out now, so we shall see.
well, one good thing for Lamont is he will always be embedded in Skaters on Baseball historical reference when we talk about the 100th splash hit and how we predicted that Mark the Shark would get it. And then he did get it off the bat of Lamont Wade. So that highlight is forever for Skaters on Baseball. And we got lots of love for Lamont. But if he's not doing it, as they say, this is a business. So we gotta upgrade if we can. We're gonna see what's happening here when we get home. I think we're going. Hey, by the way, this just in. I'm going to Detroit tomorrow. That's
Yes.
right. Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be at the stadium watching your San Francisco Giants. And I don't have to worry about Scooble towing the mound at any moment out there. So I'm excited about that. And I'm going to take the train on Friday, I believe, to Chicago and probably catch at least one Cubs game at Wrigley. And there's a outside chance I might catch a White Sox game on Monday before we head home. So a lot of baseball on the road for me. I'm pretty fired up about it. I love getting new stadiums under my belt, and I've never been to the Detroit stadium. So it's going to be cool. We're going to hope for decent enough weather to get 9 innings in because it looks like it's been raining off and on. But I think that's just part of the journey when you go to the middle of America, right?
Yeah, definitely. Do you make a little travel playlist when you go like to another city? Do you put together? Oh shit.
There could be. We could I could try to pull them out. We'll see. Yeah, actually I was thinking about for Detroit, like the Detroit Cobras, the White Stripes, the Stooges, like all Detroit bands. That'd be kind of cool.
Got to get a little Nugent and a little
Yeah,
MC5 in there.
yeah.
Nugent, the Motor City Madman, dude. Gotta get it.
He's the best. Yeah, I don't know if I need Kid Rock in there. Is he from Detroit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
The
don't mess
real
with Kid Rock, but dude,
the real McCoy.
my formative years of skateboarding, it went from like Nugent, Aerosmith to Kiss was like the gateway drug to punk. And then it was like, MC5 was in there. There was like a lot of stuff. But yeah, Nugent was heavy rotation, going to Skate Milpitas and having like the first gen Walkman, banging Nugent and the headphones. It was killer. Killer.
This is funny because Jay, I know what you're saying, but this is my pet peeve with everything lately is all these people that think our problem is going to be somebody else's desire. Why would they give up Sandy Alcantara for Lamont Wade? These trade proposals are beyond hilarious. Yeah, Lamont Wade, forever giant. He got a bobblehead. He got the 100th splash hit. And name me another player in the history of baseball that hit a home run over his mom's head while she was on TV being interviewed in right field.
Yeah.
Like that was special. You can't even ever duplicate that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool seeing Lamont's folks in the stadium a lot. They went to a lot
they
of
were
games
hyped.
and backing him, and he had some really, really clutch moments. So it's sad to see him kind of decline at the plate because that's something that you could count on for late night Lamont, late lunch Lamont, But we'll see. Like I said, I think by the All-Star break, something's gonna shift over there at first base, and the reinforcements are already just waiting in the wings to take over. We both thought that Goldschmidt would have been a good 1-year signing in the offseason. Didn't happen, but it's not the end of the world, obviously.
Yep. I think it'll be what it is what it'll be. It'll be what it is. I don't know. Yeah.
It is what it do.
Yeah, what it do, nephew. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. I'm gonna bring my laptop on the trip with me. So hopefully we can do a wrap up Thursday, possibly.
Yeah. Live on location. That's sick.
Live from Detroit City. Maybe Nego Ned will show up. You never know. Yeah, that's great. I'm in Detroit, but I got to take the train all the way to Chicago. What the hell's going on, right? Yeah, who knows? No, it's gonna be a win series. That's all we got to do. We got to keep doing that. You go to Detroit, you win 2 out of 3. If you sweep, great, but you at least win 2 out of 3. You go to Miami and you're kind of thinking sweep. You want to sweep Miami.
Mhm.
The teams like the White Sox, the Rockies, Miami's kind of in that same boat where you're like, we could win all these games. The big thing is going to be like, how is Harrison pitch his next to go?
Yep.
And is Webb going to bounce back tomorrow? I think no, Birdsong's tomorrow. Webb's Tuesday. So that'll be a big bounce back because Webb probably pitched one of his worst games his last outing.
He'll
I
be
look
fine.
for I look for him to throw one of his best games.
Yeah, he'll
He's
be
a
fine.
competitor, so he wants to come out firing for the next one.
And he's gotten roughed up twice this year. That one game against the Padres was just horrendous, and then this last start was rough. But that's not typical Webb. Typical Webb is he's going to come out and give you a lot of innings. He's going to work hard. He's going to get those ground ball outs for you. And there's nothing judging by anything that's gone on this season to make you think that he's going to like not be good his next start out. And the overwhelming majority of his starts throughout the season, if he's healthy, I never worry about Logan Webb. He's like the one guy I never worry about. Even when he has a bad game, you don't want to see it, but like the next time he's coming out with pure fire. So speaking of pure fire, the Mets are up 2-1 on the Dodgers right now. How about that?
BLA. Well, I don't know. How we doing? We pretty good?
Yeah, I think we're solid.
I had to rush this, so it's not my best work, but I did put together a little something to kind of celebrate the return of one of our favorite players who's been seen at times carrying a Sector 9 board on his back. So I'm going to give you guys a fair warning. It was a one-time shot. Turn your volume down just a little because Beck is back. There you have it, baby. Welcome back, Kristen Beck.
Creative, man. That's fantastic. Well, cool. Yeah, series win. Let's get another one in Miami. Maybe a little bit of broom action, and then Detroit, you'll be there. Giving a little positive energy to the boys out there.
If anybody's been to Detroit and they got some recommendations for food or a nice place to see some blues or anything cool, send me a note because we'll be doing it. We're there for, I think, 4 days. So we'll be checking in at some point. Thank you all for showing up for us and entering the chat and discussing baseball. Best thing about it is there's another game tomorrow. We all know that. So I guess hasta la vista, right?
Yeah, we done. Thanks for listening to this episode of Skaters on Baseball. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word, give us a good review, or hell, blow us up on your social media if you're down. Follow us at Skates on Base on Instagram for baseball news and other fun stuff. We love comments and listener participation, so bring it with an audio clip or an email. You can email us at skatersonbase@gmail.com. We're everywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll be here all season long.
Let's go, San Francisco. Let's go, Giants.
Dude, that was one of the most mind-blowing shows I've seen to this day.
Much love.
Adios! See you soon. Thank you.
And I am forever a Giant.